guys, it's Heidi and welcome back to another episode of Baby Names Sunday. So for those of you who are new, every single Sunday I upload a baby names related list. Majority of the time I try and make them really rare, unique, and uncommon names, but that are very, very usable. So I would absolutely love to have you. Make sure you guys are subscribed and make sure you guys are hitting that bell notification down below so you guys don't miss any of our uploads. We usually upload 2 videos every single week and we would absolutely love to have you. So today's video I have been so excited for because it's probably one of my favorite topics, and that is word-inspired baby names. Common words that you could find in the dictionary that make really cute, really cool names for your baby. This has kind of been like a popular and up-and-coming kind of trend recently, especially in the celebrity world. They're so unique, they're fun, but you can't really judge them because they're actual words in the English language or maybe in different cultures depending on where you live. They're just interesting. So I did want to share my list with you. If you guys have any cool and uncommon like word names, some really cool words that you find maybe in your dictionary in your own country, please leave them in the comments below. I would absolutely love to look at them, and I know that a lot of people would absolutely love that as well, as this was a very, very requested video. Okay, so looking at this very first name on this list, this totally gives me memories of my very first baby names video. It's very similar to Pepper. So Pepper was actually a possible contender, but Davian totally vetoed it. But he is loving this option of it, which is very similar, and that is the name Chili. So spelled C-H-I-L-I. I think that this is so cool. It's a type of pepper, and I feel like this one has a little bit of a spicy funk to it, if you know what I mean. Also, Chili could be a cool alternative to the name Storm, like for a weather-inspired name as well. So it's kind of like fire, spicy, meets cold, chilly weather. So it's like a good mix, you know? Davian really likes it for a girl, and I think would add this spunkiness to it. A little girl named Chili. A little notable mention, so I guess I'm adding another name on this list, was the name Cayenne. So if you didn't want to maybe go for Chili, maybe you think that's a little bit too out there, Cayenne would be something a little bit more feminine sounding than the spunk that the name Chili more so has. All right, so moving on to the next one. I am loving this one. I think it is so cool for a girl. I think it's so funky. It's literally only 3 letters, and that is the name Era, so spelled E-R-A. So the definition of era means a long distinctive period in history. So it has those kind of vintage, old-fashioned kind of ties to it without it being a name from the past, if you know what I mean. I like how it has that little bit of a touch, but it almost sounds very modern. It has that futuristic sound to it because obviously it is a common word name, but I love it. It's only 3 letters, and I feel like it's a really cool historic name for a little girl. Majority of these names are actually quite unisex. For sure this one is, and that is the name Maze. So spelled M-A-I-Z-E, or you can do M-A-Z-E. So some of you may not know, but M-A-I-Z-E is another basically word for corn, and M-A-Z-E is obviously like a maze, like a puzzled path that you go through. You know, you're trying to go through and you're like, where am I? You know, that kind of thing. But I thought that this one was kind of cool. I really like it. It has a Z in it, but I think there's a little bit of symbolism behind this name, because if you think about it, going through a maze, you're going through a puzzle, you're going through life, there's challenges that you're trying to overcome, you're going through the obstacles, you're trying to figure it out. It's a little bit hard, but you're trying to get to that destination. And maybe that could symbolize to you traveling and going on an adventure and figuring things out. Or maybe that could mean something personal. Maybe this is a rainbow baby for you, and you've gone through all these obstacles and triumphs to get to that end, which is your baby. And I feel like it might have that kind of symbolism behind it, depending on maybe what you've gone through throughout your life. But I really think it has some really cool meaning behind it for just being a word. I really like it. I think it's really cool for either boy or a girl. All right, moving on to this next one. This one I definitely would say it's a boy's name, just because of the meaning. And I definitely feel like this name is gonna be really up and coming in the next few years as that futuristic sounding name, and that is the name Sire. So spelled S-I-R-E. 2 kind of definitions of the name Sire. So Sire is the male parent of an animal, animal, like a horse, like a sire, or it's a respectful way to address someone, so like a king. It's only 4 letters, it has 2 syllables, and those sort of names are really up and coming, and this is a really great royalty inspired name without actually directly naming your child after someone who is of royalty descent, if you know what I mean. This would almost be like a Kanye West, Kim Kardashian style name. So it's like Psalm, Saint, Sire. Like I feel like it's in that kind of bubble there, and I think that Sire would be a perfect option in that category. So moving on to this next one, this one is for sure a unisex name, and that is the name Anchor. So spelled A-N-C-H-O-R. Anchor is a heavy metal object you throw into the water to keep your boat in one place, you know? A lot of people get tattoos of anchors because anchor has a really great symbolism, whether it's because of someone or for yourself. It's almost like a grounding style name, which I think it has really powerful meanings behind it, which I really love, alongside those nautical ties and that beach, ocean inspired name. But one of the more powerful and meaningful symbolisms behind an anchor is hope, when it is raised up onto the boat and you're going on to your next adventure. Letting go of what's going on right now and looking ahead and seeing what your future holds. So I feel like it's a really positive, always look forward, never look back type of vibe to it. And I think that this is one of the reasons why someone would personally pick this name, is because it has some really powerful meaning behind the name, and I really love that about it. This one is super, super cool. I love the sound of it. It's totally unisex, and that is the name Cameo. So spelled C-A-M-E-O. This has such a cool artsy inspired meaning behind it. So basically what a cameo is a small character part in a play or a movie played by a distinguished actor or a celebrity. So I think cameo totally falls into that category of like literary inspired and artsy inspired names. It's very much along the same lines as story or sonnet, like those really cool, interesting names that are a little different. This is a totally cool name that's right up the alley for parents who love to read or write. Okay, so next name on the list that I have is a girl's name, and I think this one is almost overlooked. I think it's feminine sounding, and it's almost like a double take name. It's like, ooh, I love it. And that is the name Sistine. So spelled S-I-S-T-I-N-E. Sistine will be directly associated with the Sistine Chapel, which is obviously a beautiful museum in Vatican City. And it basically has beautiful murals and paintings all over the ceiling. It is just so, so gorgeous. I've never been, but I've seen pictures. But I think this would be such a cool place-inspired name with full of history. And maybe Rome is your like place that you absolutely love, that maybe is like near and dear to your heart. I think Sistine would be a perfect name to kind of encompass that. And I think it's so pretty, and it literally symbolizes beauty to me. Moving on to another girl's name that I think is super, super, it gives me like warm and cozy feels to me, and that is the name Velour. So spelled V-E-L-O-U-R. This one is a little bit outside of the box, but I love it, and I think it totally can work for a girl. Velour is obviously a plush fabric resembling velvet. I feel like it has this luxurious and elegant take to it, kind of romantic, and I love the V. Like, I love how it begins with a V, and I think it would make such a cute girl's name. And then this next one sounds like a complete boy's name. I think the sound of it sounds very tough, I feel. And that is the name Stoic. So spelled S-T-O-I-C. So Stoic is a person who can endure hardship without showing their feelings or complaining. That's the actual meaning of it. Kind of signifies someone who's very calm and kind of laid back. Like, it sounds like this handsome, strong, powerful man, but the definition is so soft. So I feel like this adds a really great balance to the name, and it almost symbolizes peace and this kind of carefree living. And it has that kind of positivity to it, which I really like for such a strong sounding name. Okay, this next one, I feel like Davian and I absolutely love. The nickname for it is so cool. This one could be pronounced 2 different ways. I'll tell you how it's actually pronounced, and then I'll give you also an alternative, which I prefer the alternative. But that is the name Ilex. So spelled I-L-E-X. It's actually pronounced Ilex, but I like Ilex. And when I look at it, I feel like majority of the people would pronounce it as ilex. So I'm gonna go with ilex, but I know that it is ilex. It is a tree or a shrub in the holly tree family. A nature-inspired name. It's a plant name, very uncommon, very different, never heard of it. But it has this edgy sound. It has that X on the end, and it has two really cool nicknames that I am loving. There's Lex, super cool for a girl, or Illy. Davey and I love Illy, I-L-L-Y. So if you're looking for like a plant or flower inspired name, in the holly tree family. So I think that that's cool. It kind of gives those Christmas vibes, you know? It's like a winter baby's name, right? Okay, so this next one I am loving. I just love this name. I don't know if it's the way that it makes me feel. It's really hard to describe. I was trying to figure out how I'm gonna describe it to you guys, but that is the name Harvest. So spelled H-A-R-V-E-S-T. Obviously harvest is the process of gathering crops, but this one is almost like a bohemian style name. It has that fun and like pretty feel to it. If you guys can think to yourself of the name Haven, like, you know how Haven just sounds like very peaceful? That's the exact same feel that Harvest gives me. Harvest could really be unisex. It could go either way. I would personally choose it for a girl. And maybe if you're having a baby like towards the end of summer or in the fall, so like late August to, I think it's early October is when the normal harvest season is. I think Harvest would be such a cute name for then, for a little baby born at that time. I think it's a little bit different. It's a really cool fall inspired baby name. And even if your baby's not born during that time, I still feel like this name could be used at any time really during the year. But I think specifically during that time would be super cool and kind of memorable for them. All right, so on to our next name. This one's a color inspired name. I think it's so unique, and that is the name Ochre. So spelled O-C-H-R-E. Never heard of someone named this name, and colored names are very popular, like, and up and coming right now, so I think this would be such a perfect option. The color ochre is like an earthy tone. It has like a yellowish brownish tinge to it, and it could be used for either a boy or a girl, and a good alternative to those really popular like blue, scarlet, ruby. It's a really good alternative to some of those more up and coming common ones that are so pretty, super cool. But this one's a little bit more uncommon and different from those ones. And it ties perfectly into our next one because I feel like this is a perfect alternative to a flower name, because again, flower names for girls are so up and coming, and it makes sense. They're so beautiful, whichever one you end up going for. But this name is the name Petal, so spelled P-E-T-A-L. Such a good alternative to those more popular ones like the daisy, the rose, the jasmine. Those ones are so beautiful, beyond beautiful. I love all flower names. It's kind of like a guilty pleasure of mine, but I feel like those ones are really up and coming. So I thought Petal is kind of more outside the box. You're still in that category because all flowers have petals, and you just name her Petal. I actually also had Blossom on this list. There's another one that I really liked. Petal, Blossom. I think those two, Bloom. I had that on my bohemian inspired names. I think those three are so pretty if you're wanting a flower inspired name. All right, so another name on this list I love, and that is the name Safari. So spelled S-A-F-A-R-I. But the definition of safari is an expedition to observe animals in their natural habitat, especially in Africa. Very popular to go on those kind of like safaris. This is totally for those wanderlust traveling families, and it has the really cool nicknames of Fari and Saf or Safi. Another name on this list for the girl side is really pretty as well, and it's only 4 letters, and that is the name Mesa. So spelled M-Y-S-A. Never heard of it before, but it actually means engaging in an activity that is feeling very comfortable and you feel incredibly content about it. So for example, the cat lying in the sun feeling all cozy. And I had to add it because it gives that sense of positive feelings, feeling content. Like, I feel like Mesa sounds like it should be more common than it actually is. It is not a common name. I've been looking it up. I love how it means the feeling of peace almost. That gives like some positive energy around the name, which I absolutely love. Okay, so another 4-letter name that I am loving on this list, I think it's one of my favorites. That is the name Muse, so spelled M-U-S-E. It sounds very mysterious, but it doesn't really have that much of a mysterious meaning at all. It's actually a person or a thing who is the source of inspiration for a creative artist. A really great artsy name, and it's almost like you're giving your child like that positive inspirational feeling to be inspirational in the world. Basically, the baby is born with a very positive aura already and really good omen about them, very positive energy about them. They are destined to do really great things in the world. All right, so moving on to the next name, I feel like I would totally use this for a boy. I think it's kind of screams beach babe, and that is the name Coast, so spelled C-O-A-S-T. And I wanted to add it to the list because it's a little bit different than that like ocean or Oceana, the sage, the river, all of those nature inspired names that are very up and coming. So I think it's so cool for a little baby boy or even a girl. I feel like I can go for either or, but I would definitely use this for a boy. So moving on to our very final 2 names on this list, this next one is a place inspired name, and that is the name Norway, so spelled N-O-R-W-A-Y. I am in love for a little girl. I personally would use this for. So Norway is a Scandinavian country with lots of mountains, glaciers, and coastal fjords. Is it fjords or fjords? I feel like it's fjords, the way that they would pronounce it. And I think that it's such a great place name that a lot of people maybe don't think of. I also think that like Ireland, Scotland, I think those two are a little bit more up and coming. And I feel like Norway should totally make its grand entrance like this year. But now onto our very final name on this list that I picked. This one's actually animal inspired, which is different. I love it as well. I love the name. I think it sounds super, super cool. And that is the name Indri, so spelled I-N-D-R-I. Indri is actually the type of a Madagascan lemur. So they're found in Madagascar. Apparently they're like the largest size lemur there. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they're the largest size that you can find there. And I was watching some National Geographic and I heard David Attenborough say Indri, Madagascar, and I'm like, Indri? Hey, I like this. I'm gonna add it to my word inspired list. And another really cool thing about the name Indri is that it's the Mediterranean form of the name Andrew. Indri, Andrew. Sounds kind of similar. I can understand it, a little bit different, and something you can kind of relate it to. So that is it with the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you absolutely enjoyed this list. It was super long. I wanted to give you as many names as possible, but thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys next week with another video. Bye!